Hey everybody, this is B from Kongs R Us, and welcome to a quick special edition of whatever show this is called, The Next Level. This guy is going back and forth of backing this Kickstarter, doing coverage of home arcade pinballs. I don't know what I'm doing anymore, but I do know that I have some final thoughts with less than 24 hours to go about Wonderland Amusements foray into sub $1,000 pinball. And I think that's the thing that still super intrigues me about this entire project and why this still excites me more than anything that there are current offerings out there. Yes, there are a lot of options of things you can do with 7.99 or 8.49 or wherever you decide to back this if you're one of the early backers. But for me, there's still an intrigue, some sort of mystique about being able to play with innovative projects. This has been my MO for this particular channel. As soon as I've gotten into this home arcade space, I have loved testing out and trying out some of the newest technology that has come available in our home arcade experience, if you will. I was one of the very first to ever test out the Outrun arcade one-up cabinet to see what racing games would look like on a home arcade setup. And again, I didn't have a lot of experience back then. I just knew that I was excited to try and see what steering wheels could look like, if they can make a bench or a seat that would feel comfortable. I think a lot of the home arcade community didn't even know what to expect out of a racing cabinet. And I was fortunate enough that really kickstarted my personal channel was, playing with the technology. I was able to not only test it, I was able to mod it immediately. I was able to turn that into a Pimp My Ride vehicle. I put in a freaking took out the guts of that machine and put in a PC and a freaking Logitech steering wheel inside of that Outrun cabinet, ultimately. So it was just one of those things where that has always been my biggest desire. When Big Buck Hunter first came out, that cabinet I had zero nostalgia or interest in, and I just wanted to see how the Sinden light guns would work in a home arcade system. I was really curious about the shotguns and the quality of them and what they took out and what they put in. And immediately I was able to, even mod the shotguns with basic things like putting in some weights into the stocks and changing the triggers to make them click a little bit more. So these are just like basic things where I just kind of like love tinkering with the hobby, and this is what excites me. When arcade went up, virtual pinball first came out, the Star Wars, the Marvel, and the Attack from Mars. Like before I ever was a pinball fan, I was like, I'm interested in that technology. I've played virtual pinball FX2 and FX3 prior to that on my Star Wars yoke. I was like, I could do everything with this yoke. This yoke is the most amazing thing. And that yoke and experimenting with that is also one of the big things, obviously, why my channel has thrived, because I like taking shit and doing cool stuff with it. I was playing pinball with the yoke and pulling it back for a plunger and pressing the triggers for left and right flippers. I was like, pinball on a horizontal screen, no problem. And as soon as I got the arcade one up pinball, the first thing I did was like, I already have all these games on a PC. Let me take off the Backglass monitor and put on a second screen. Let me see if I can already repurpose this and play the full entire FX3 library. And I did that like day one. And then eventually the Pinner mod came out by Team Encoder. That was the whole mystery encoder. And just, that community of people that innovate out of necessity was an exciting time. I mean, like, I remember spending $175 for my very first arcade one up. It was like a Street Fighter 2 that I got on sale from an Amazon Lightning deal. And I was like, this is it. This is my foray into finally owning arcade in my household. And I bought it and I was like, yeah, this is okay. And I was okay personally spending probably about another $200, $300 on modding it, putting a 20-inch screen in it, putting a Raspberry Pi, changing out the buttons, putting different artwork on it, putting in speakers. I did everything I could to that Street Fighter 2 because I could and I wanted to. And I didn't mind because it was only $175. Those early days of modding, because cabinets and products were cheap, was one of the things that continues to drive me. So, full circle moment for those that are brand new to the channel, and I just gave you a trip down memory lane of my personal experience in the home arcade journey, is that that's probably the number one reason why I still am excited and somewhat enthusiastic about the prospect of this project. So, where did this project end up with? Where did they land at? So what we're talking about is Wonderland Amusements and their foray into a physical pinball machine under $1,000. And yes, I've gotten into real pinball machines. I own three full-size pinball machines. I own a Star Wars Pro, a Foo Fighters Premium, and a Godzilla Premium. I've modded the heck out of all three of those and put in hundreds of mods into each one, thousands of dollars into just mods for that. Like freaking the topper for Foo Fighters, right? That alone was like 2 grand. Like, holy cow. Like I could have bought two of these pinball machines for the price of a single. So I'm not a stranger to the cost of pinball, but I'm excited about it and I like modding it part of the hobby. So with this, the price point has always been a number one selling value. And now that I can get this and I've been able to see it and touch it and see what is inside and packaged for right now, I was able to get this at the early bird backer price because so many people had backed out of this. I have this currently at 7.99. I'm one of the 200 white Rabbit early specials. So there's 604 current backers to date. There's 15 hours to go. They've already made their goal. That's fine. I think that's exciting for them to, finally have reached their own threshold. But it's been interesting the last 2 weeks to see this number jump up and down. It was up to, 625, maybe at the highest that I ever saw it, kind of like post WonderCon. And it's dropped a little over, 20 backers. There's been people that have been in the community. I think Colin L is one of them who has said like he unbacked it and he's like, nah, I'm good. I'm buying a pinball VR X arcade stick thingy, which is a very interesting product that I have some thoughts on, but I've not experienced it yet. So there's those folks. There's people like, Kevgret, who probably purchased it and backed it just to unback it. And he publicly said, "Why I'm canceling pinball." But the person that surprised me the most, and I think maybe you guys some have seen his videos. I think out of the home arcade community folks, Carl over at Detroit Love. I love Carl, man. I love Late Night with Carl. But he was such an advocate for Wonderland at the beginning, and I like he backed it before many of us did, and I hadn't backed it until about a week and a half ago. And then he made a video about why I canceled my pledge. And I saw his video and it was a great video. If you haven't checked it out, watch Carl's video about why he's not backing and why he canceled the pledge. He made some very valid points. So some of the main points that he made is that one, they reach their backer goal. They technically don't need all the people that cancel their pledge to make this succeed. I think that's fine. That's a super valid point. So what are some of the other things that was missing for him? He kind of brought up that there really were no additional incentives. There were no extra reward, tiers or unlockables, if you will, if like there were a certain number of value of reach. And he talked about adding tempered glass, which I think is a really expensive option. But I do kind of agree. I think if, for the Kickstarter folks that pre-ordered it, it would have been nice if there was extra incentive. If you were one of these early Kickstarter supporters, that maybe you got some of the upgrades because they already have these upgrades built in, right? I mean, they already have some of these things, like the extras. They already have not only these reward tiers that they're talking about, but they have the add-on bundles. They have the topper. They have the dust cover. Like adding in this dust cover, for example, as a reward for being part of the Kickstarter, I think that would have been cool. I think it was kind of late for them to add that in, or maybe they could have done it at the midpoint. It's definitely too late with less than a day to go. But I got his point that there was nothing truly special about backing it now, versus then when it comes out to retail. I would argue though, Detroit Love, because you were talking about how you love to back other innovative projects like the Arcade. That didn't have jack shit for any other additional upgrades as well. And the price point for that pretty much, you didn't get much of a discount on an iArcade either. And that was like a $500 product. And so it's not like there was not precedent for not getting additional rewards in a home arcade product like the iArcade. You pretty much just got the same thing that you could at the Kickstarter price and you did it a later one. There was no extra bundle or special for the Kickstarter. So it's not like, hey, that would have been nice of. So I just wanted to kind of point that out that we've done this before. I backed the IRK Kickstarter because I kind of believe the innovation. And I was kind of FOMOing at the time. I was like, there's no Dragon's Lair product out there. And I really love Dragon's Lair as a game. And so that's what drew me into the IRK product. That's why I backed that particular product. But the Wonderland product, again, at $7.99, and again, this is 20% off retail at $1,000. I could change my mind if this was truly somebody was spending $1,000 on this, what you get. But for $800, what are some of the other products that have come out in the home arcade community at a 799 price point or around that price point? 600, 700, $800, right? The closest thing that was our retail at 799, I think it was like Time Crisis or T2 was at 799. I forget. It was 749 or something ridiculous like that. So you were already paying like an $800 product for some wooden MDF, a screen, a PCB, and some controllers, right? And obviously there's the artwork and all that good stuff. But that's all you were paying for that high level of a price point. Like that was the main thing. And I get it. Like, I'm such a superficial arcade owner that I liked the way some of my arcades looked. At Games Pinball, the very first Legends pinball machine, I think that was around, I think $700 or $800 as well. And that was a virtual pinball machine, two screens, flipper controls, a new body style, chrome legs or black legs or whatever. And so that was a newish product. But at 799, you kind of got a lot of value for doing it. The control interface sucked monkey balls, right? They never quite ever figured that out. I modded the crap out of the thing. I was like, I don't want this to look anything like this anymore. Did the Bobby Blue Backglass. I think I put 2 grand into that machine after it was all said and done on top of the 800 I spent. So like I've taken an $800 product and spent 2 grand on it and then sold it for barely $1,000 afterwards. But it was a fun hobby. That was just kind of like my tinkeringness that I love doing it. So I'm just kind of setting the stage for other things that have been kind of at this price point. So when I look at this product, right? So looking at this particular product, and again, this is just my video that I did at WonderCon, kind of showing this off. There is so much just product of stuff packed into this $700, $799 price point that I got, or $800, whatever, sub $1,000 pinball machine. Like, I don't think anybody could ever try to replicate what they've put into this machine. So I am very excited to kind of just test out, and be the guinea pig to see what's going to break first on this thing. What are some of the things that I'd like to change and update? And so the third party marketing community, there's going to be 600 people that have backed this so far. And then people are going to have to wait, months till retail. That's the people that are hopefully there's some third party modders in that particular community. I think DMod was one of the people that it's like, hey, I'm going to get in there and test it out. Like, I think people, because it's so cheap as a pinball machine, like the modders are going to come out, right? The next ETA Prime Street Fighter 2 mod is going to come out of it. No, I don't know if anybody's going to do that. But it's only 600 models that were sold out of this thing. But modding will become a thing for this now, and it will become a very accessible thing for those that like to tinker like myself and kind of like make things kind of better looking and play better. Like that's the intriguing part. Like these leaf switches that are stand up and they shake all the crime. Like, maybe I'd be okay spending a couple of bucks on maybe a real stand-up target from a real pinball machine. And if I can mod that and then plug it into here, right? Like, I think those are just curious things that I'm interested in checking out of these things. And a look at this, look at the underside of this. This is, again, it's not cleaned up, but there's so much happening under here. There's probably something that's bound to break, but I'm very curious to be part of that test cycle. I'm the tester now, right? Me and 600 other people are going to be the live testers. Yes, we will be the dupers, but I'm going to have so much fun figuring shit out if anything breaks. Because as a physical pinball machine, people are always worried about things breaking and if it's going to be fixable or not in the future. As a physical machine, everything has a wire and a purpose. It's very easy to trace if something is not working. There's a trace down to something to see if it's physically not working. And then you can physically unplug something and then plug it back in or change something out, right? If there's a hardware issue a software issue that's happening, like inside of something else that's messing up, like on your at games, and then there's other things that are happening, like those are harder to fix. There's a soft mod community obviously that's around too, but I've always loved the hardware side of things and be able to tinker and move things around. So I think those are just one of the couple of main reasons I wanted to share and express that is the main reason why I'm still excited about this. I do want to talk about the other options there are out there, and I'm going to get to the chat in a little bit. So thank you guys for hanging in there for those that are watching this right now. There are a lot of options right now in the home arcade pinball community that is like taking the home arcade pinball community by storm. And it's the VR FX, pinball FX, and the tank stick VR set and things like that. And people are like, you can spend like all the other YouTube home arcade group guys that I'm with. We have our group chat. Everybody's like, B, we decided to kill Wonderland and we should destroy B too for keeping the backet. Like, forget about it. Buy a Meta Quest 3, buy the tank stick, you'll be much happier. And I could be, and that might still be part of my journey at some point. But I personally am still not into VR yet. It's like I had a Quest 1 and I enjoyed playing some of the games on that, like Super Hot and freaking Beat Saber. And I remember doing the Darth Vader games, and I thought this was the coolest thing ever. And yeah, it's probably been upgraded since the Quest 2 and the Quest 3, and the gaming experience is much better. But I haven't touched my Quest 1 in 3+ years. I have not had that desire to put on a headset and play virtual pinball in that space. I think for those that have enjoyed it and are like, hey, I can get this and play this in that setting, it's great, it's fantastic. But I've also personally been able to go out now to my local breweries and pinball locations and play those same tables, many of them, fortunately, in Los Angeles on real tables. So I don't have that desire to just put on a headset and just kind of jump into virtual. Maybe that's just me being a hardware guy and loving to like just tinker stuff. Like I almost, instead of playing sometimes pinball, I will just do maintenance. And I love lifting up the hood and being able to kind of fix things and tweak things. Like the maintenance and tuning thing is still probably one of my favorite parts of the hobby. Yes, I still play my games. I still play a lot of pinball. I host tournaments. I still play the heck out of a Marvel vs. Capcom 1. Um, but then again, these are just some of the things that like that option, while it's a good one, it's just not for me personally just yet. Not knocking anybody else that's doing it. I think it's a fun opportunity. And I think that's the reason why Detroit Love ultimately counted. Is like I could play pinball in any setting and I enjoy it in the virtual world. And he's like, that's fine. But he's not played as much I guess physical pinball as myself in the real world. So and he likes doing both. But he says he's okay with playing it in virtual space. And I can't knock it till I try it, right? I gotta try it at some point. Maybe I'll borrow a Meta Quest 3 and I'll try it. But again, to spend $500 just to play Pinball FX and virtual reality, there's a lot of other things you can do. But I'm just not there yet. I'm not sold on the virtual reality experience of pinball. That's just where I'm at. Who knows? In fact, even my virtual pinball machine, I went and I finally finished the project where I delivered my full-size virtual pinball stir machine to the guy that commissioned me to do it. This was a 3-year project. 2 weeks ago, I finally delivered to him, and he gave me back a cabinet. And I think I shared this the last time I did it live. And instead of remaking a virtual pinball machine, I'm interested in building a homebrew pinball machine. Like I think I'm gonna do it. Like I've already researched it, and I have a cabinet for it. So the physical world is just my sweet spot. I'm that's where I'm at. I'm just always been that way with my hobby and tinkering, and it's just what I love. Okay, so with that, let me get to the chat and just double check and see where everybody's at. I know there's been a lot of stuff here. I'm going to start with the super chats, and then I'm going to start with the bottom up and go from there. So first off, thank you, Kevin Clausen says $2. This names name the show Foot Frenzy. Okay, well, thank you for the suggestion. I highly appreciate that. Thank you, Kevin Clausen. Truly do. I will consider it very much so. Lucas Osborne, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. He says, I loved your previous video. You said this game was flippable. I'm wondering how it felt. Did it feel more like pinball or a plastic toy? No, so it felt genuinely like a pinball machine. So you can see the demo of it playing right now. And I had several games where I was able to catch the ball, compared to how Peter plays the game. Because when he was playing it, like he was draining all over the place. And from a difficulty standpoint, if you look at the out lanes for these, and then I'll just rewind and play some gameplay really quickly, the out lanes on this, on the left side, and then on the right side right here, and you can't see where my arrows are. But there's like it's very hard to get into the out lanes of this game because of the angle. You really don't have a lot of angles where it goes into the out lanes. You do drain more down the middle, but there's also a post in the middle to save. So the ball is coming straight down. You have a post save. So besides it having a post save and going out the middle, it's easy to stay alive. And so I think this is a great learner game as a beginning game. And know one of the feedback that people were saying is like, look, the ball got stuck on the back area on this ball right here. But let me tell you the reason why it got stuck on here. And I probably should have mentioned this in the video, but the reason why I got stuck in that location is when they shipped the playfield to WonderCon, in order to protect the plastic acrylic, the cover, it was covered in blue protective film plastic over the entire playfield with everything screwed in on top of it. So instead of like unscrewing every single piece and then pulling off the plastic and then screwing it back in, Peter and the other guy that was helping set it up was peeling off all of the blue plastic from the entire playfield, and there was still a remaining little blue piece of plastic that was still on the playfield, which is the reason why the ball got stuck. So from a design perspective, it shouldn't get stuck. You just have to make sure that if it gets shipped that way with the blue plastic on the playfield, people that's one of the first things people probably will complain about. Like, shit, I have to take this whole thing apart to take off the blue plastic. But it's pros and cons because now you're gonna have to get shipped with something and have it not be scratched. So I don't know what they're gonna do. Like I wasn't there when I saw it, but I have a feeling that if they ship the playfield separately, they might have that plastic over it and then drill everything on top of it. So to get rid of the sides of the plastic, you may have to unscrew things a little bit, pull off the plastic and screw back in. But that's 100% the reason why the ball got stuck in that place. So to ask your question of like, did it feel like a plastic toy? No, it felt like the flipper strength felt good. The physics felt like better than I expected. You know, the ball does fly all over the place, but like any game, physical game that you start playing, you adjust. If you're playing a fighting game and somebody picks turbo or somebody picks slow mode, for the first 10 seconds, you're like, shit, I need to adjust to the slow mode or I need to adjust to turbo. You automatically start to adjust and then you can start playing the speed of the ball that's on the flipper. You can change the angle of the ball so that it rolls down a little bit slower. And so as I was aiming for shots, you can kind of see that I can kind of see where the ball's going to land. I can catch it on my flipper. But yes, the flipper has flipper issues when it's holding, but I think that's a bug that they can potentially solve. So if they fix those things, I think people will be happy with the way that it flips. It doesn't feel like one of those cheap plastic toys. Hey, it felt way better than the Zizzlite that I played. Is it good as a Stern or anything in that capacity? Definitely not, right? It's not in that category, but it definitely still feels like a pinball machine at that size that it's there. So the flipper's doing the little wiggle. I just wish they could fix that because after you flip it, it kind of wiggles a little bit. That's the part that still feels like the cheapest part to me. But everything else, I mean, you got chrome ramps that are coming back down to you. You know, you do have some of the plastic and 3D printed parts, but there's $6,000 pinball machines like pros that have plastic ramps and parts all over it that don't look nearly as fun as a layout to this. So I'm gonna share a layout in a little bit that talks about, you know, people are saying that this is a boring game and a boring layout. Let me show you a boring game and a boring layout in a second, and we'll go from there. So thank you for that $5 super chat. All right, Con L01, who went to WonderCon. It was excited to be a backer, but Carl convinced them, and not that anybody here is convincing anybody to back something or not. It's how whatever you choose, you do you, right? But Cornell went to WonderCon, he was excited, but he's like, you know what? Right now, I'm gonna use my money to buy the Tank Stick and the MetaQuest 3, and he'll buy it at retail. And you know what? I think that's probably if you don't mind waiting, guarantee you this machine is gonna go on sale at some point. If it makes it to retail, it will go probably 15, 20%, 25% on sale at some point in time. So if you're not eager to play soon or whatnot, waiting is absolutely fine. So that's completely fine as well. Okay, she says Pinball FX is awesome. As a pinball channel, you have to give it a go. Pinball for everyone. Ha! Physical pinball for everyone. That's right. Elitist right here, Con L. No, I'm just kidding. Even Justin Console Kit says, ha! Prediction: B will hate VR pinball just to be contrarian. You'll see. So Justin freaking is one of the biggest pinball shows that I know right now. In fact, today he just got delivered a brand new Stern Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles machine to his house, and he's still like, Wonderland is crap, but VR pinball is awesome. So Justin plays a lot of pinball, but he's like, I love VR pinball just as much. Yeah, he's like, this is awesome. You can see everything. I have to try it. I don't want to buy a MetaQuest 3 just for Pinball FX. Like, I don't know. Like, I've played VR before. I've had the headset. I've done it, and it just, I don't know. Maybe just for me, I get sick after a while. I've never gotten sick at it. I feel sweaty after a while. I think the reason why I stopped playing it for reals. um, my son started playing it about 3-4 years ago too, when he wanted to start playing VR. And he sweated so much into the headset that after he's played it, I've never played it once after he started playing it because it's so sweaty and smelly. So if I buy a MetaQuest 3, it's got to be for me. But I have kids that want to play it now. So if whatever I buy from a gaming standpoint becomes theirs at some point. My PS5, my Switch, everything becomes theirs. So I think that's where I'm also hesitant because again, I don't know if I'm gonna use it or they're gonna use it. That's just part of the reality of it. Oh, let's see. All right. He says, B, you need to make room for that Wonderland and pick up Time Crisis. Not going to happen anytime soon. Okay. I should buy MetaQuest 3 just for Pinball FX3. Okay. So, how he said for reals, how can he hate Pinball FX? He's not even hate it and you hate everything. So, I'm not hating it. I haven't tried it yet. The Arcades Anonymous crew, which is going to be redirected after this show, is meeting with AV from X Arcades. He's the newest person that's been making around on all the channels. So, I feel like a lot of the home arcading community is like, buy this X Arcade Tank Stick VR. It's awesome. Pair it with your stuff. You're gonna be able to do all the things. Maybe I'll go that route, but I don't I don't see a space in my arcade for that tank stick currently. Like I like look physically as I've reduced things down and I've got rid of things. Like I don't have a current space that I would probably play that. So I don't know. I'll have to see if that's something that's going to get in there and replace it. So we will see. All right. As long as it has good bones, the community will run with upgrades. You're still stoked to back them. Melticade Matt is backing them, which is great. If you choose to back it or not, I could care less, but I'm really curious about the other community folks that will be making content and sharing their feedback. I feel kind of weird that I'm one of the few folks in the community that have made content and be able to share kind of feedback that I got, a chance to flip it and feel it. And many people were just going off of that video, and many people were saying that I shitted on them on it. But no, I was just giving a realistic take that, it wasn't the best showing, but I did see, like Multicade Matt is saying, a lot of the bones in this and the bones still kind of show off some potential things. And what has Wonderland done since then? Like they put out their own video. Peter messaged me afterwards and he was like, I got the DMD working. And we had been talking. I was like, hey, within the next week, is it possible to maybe put it out on location so that other people can try it again and you can get some more public feeling? I think they kind of did enough, and maybe at this stage it was too late, but I think he did a good job of finally showing off some of the potential gameplay as well as just the DMD, the settings and things. And so I thought he did a good job presenting that. Let me pull up that video right now, and then let me give some final critiques of the pinball machine that I would like to see happen before it gets to production. So I think there are still absolutely some opportunities for improvement. P-Dub's favorite line when he does things. But I think this is the thing that we're going to want to be able to see improve from them. So there's still a few things I want to see. All right, here it is. Let me pull this up. Present. Share screen. Ba-ba-da-ba-bum. Okay. Here is Mr. Peter doing his April development update, and he has a lot of equipment. He actually brought a lot of equipment to WonderCon to potentially shoot this there and do stuff live, but it didn't go well. But he was ready, so I thought his production quality on being able to do this was fantastic. Which wasn't fantastic was his pinball play. So you can make fun of him for it because he knows he has to get better on it. But that's something that you don't have to be the best player in the world to be able to still work on a product like this. But he's showing off the DMD here. Okay, let's talk about some of the basic things I want to see updated from the code. The code, the point one code, as he calls it, is right now, yeah, it's playable. Everything flashes. Everything's those bright white lights that you see on the screen. That is pretty bare bones and a really terrible experience right now. So from a gameplay mode, what I expect in a pinball machine, any pinball machine, is that you shoot whatever the flashing lights are as your main target. But to have everything flashing at once, right? And this, again, this is point one code. It's just to see if it flips and it works. Yes, the shots are registering, but he has right now in the game flow, every kind of target and every objective is lit. I would love to see one, the next time I talk to Peter, if I get a chance to talk to him or interview him, or even anybody from that team, I really want to know who's the developer on this. Like, who is actually doing the game code for this? Is it the guy, the homebrew guy that they hired to do this? Is it Jerry himself? Like, did they get anybody who is an actual, like, true player to help with the code side so we can see some of the game progressions. And a lot of these guys are in the gaming industry. They kind of know how games should work. You should start at a basic level one, complete the task, unlock something else, complete that task, and then finish it all off with a bonus, right? Right now, it's just shoot everything 3 times. It kind of locks, and then that lights up one of the circles in the middle of the screen. And then that's kind of how you progress. But what it should be is like they need to set up this game. What would make it fun is that you have a couple of different things that you can hit to be able to unlock the actual objective or the mode. So most games, if you will, you have regular targets that you're hitting, and anytime you hit something, you get points. But the modes, the missions, the objectives to kind of complete a task, those kind of unlock as you do something in the game. Godzilla is a good example. In order to fight one of the monsters in Godzilla, which is a key integral part of the game, you have to hit 2 ram shots. And then after that, you hit the scoop. And then the scoop lets you go into a mode and you get to select which one that you want to do. So that's what should be happening here. Like the shot up to the castle probably can be like one of the easiest shots that you do, that in order to unlock any of the modes, you got to hit into the castle 3 times. And that gives you the option to go into one of the task modes. And then you get to select one of the modes. And then only that mode is lit up for you to hit in the time mode, right? Like this is simple game mechanics. Like you shouldn't have every flashing light flashing at every single time. Whenever they get their next cup date, and maybe this is already in the plans, but like this is not a fun gaming experience. We have to shoot everything at once. I want to go for one objective. Let me unlock my task, select the task, which one I want to do that has different objectives, complete it, and then maybe the final thing to complete that task again is hitting the party teeth. So you can use the targets as different objectives. It shouldn't just be a straight hit this target 3 times and that completes the objective. No, you start something, maybe you hit the left ramp and then the right ramp and then the left ramp again, and something lights up in a different color for you to be able to complete those modes. I'm hoping that these LEDs as well aren't just white lights. I'm hoping that they actually are RGB lights, that they can actually add some color into this and they can change different colors and modes depending on the task or what's happening. I think that would be awesome. Like if there's a time mode and then it goes from green and then all of a sudden they turn red and then you're running out of time and it's flashing, like that kind of makes sense. So if there's something that can be added, if that doesn't, maybe in this iteration or next one, I'm hoping they're RGB lights. If this is just a straight flashing white light, I'm probably going to be disappointed on the game code where it ends up. But like, those are the basic things I want to see improved on the game code itself, right? The shots themselves, all of them are fine. None of them were super hard to hit. Some of the quality of the parts, like the leaf switches for the targets on the left, were kind of like a little funky. So I thought everything worked okay. I didn't get to see how the multi-ball truly worked out in a sense, but normally multi-balls, the big way to score points in a game is you start a mode and then you start multi-ball. So the multi-ball helps you complete the mode, and then you stack multi-ball jackpots with the mode jackpots that you win there. So those are the reasons why you would do that. Um, so those are all the things that, from a game code perspective, that I would like to see updated and added into the game before release. I do want to see a lot of that with the latest version of the code update. So please, as this Kickstarter ends tomorrow, don't stop giving development updates so that you can continue to build a following for those that didn't back the Kickstarter. And in fact, I did finally confirm that between the Kickstarter pre-order or whatever Kickstarter ending, if you call it a pre-order or backing or whatever, there won't be any other option to kind of purchase it or pre-order it until it gets to retail, whenever that happens. So the sucky thing will be, what if the Kickstarter happens and then it gets to retail and then people at retail will be able to get it before the Kickstarters? That would effing suck. So I'm hoping that they'll be able to make through and at least honor that the Kickstarter folks will be some of the first people to receive this product and get it before it gets to retail. Like I'd love to see it like be in hands before, at least a month before it gets to retail. If it happens right at the same time where they're shipped to retail at the same time the Kickstarter people are getting it, that would make the Kickstarter people feel stupid that somebody was able to pick it up at retail before you got their pre-order thing. And I know it's not a pre-order, it's a backing, right? You should be one of the first people to get it. I hope the people that did the full-on bronze version, that like I know Cammy got one, that she was one of the people that did that. I hope those 18 people get theirs first before anybody. They spent $1,800 on a specialized product from Kickstarter. I definitely want to make sure that they see it. What are some of the other things that I really want them to upgrade? From a physical standpoint, I think the look of it is good. The coin door is still, gosh, I wish they can do something with that still. I know there's a lot of things that are happening here, but the coin door, even on this prototype, is black. On the sample that we saw, it was white. I think between the two, I prefer the black one, if anything. But it still kind of sucks the way that it looked. And the main reason why, when I was talking to Dre, who's part of the product development team, he's like, I wanted to have the D-pad there so that people can select in menu and enter in, a Wi-Fi code or update like that. Like I wanted that navigatable space. But I'd argue in a, a full-size pinball machine, people are able to enter Wi-Fi codes by just moving left and right and hitting the start button. Like those are the only buttons you need. You need left flipper, right flipper, and a start button. And you can navigate any menu using a left button, a right button, and a start button. Like that's the only thing you need. So these buttons are irrelevant. There's an extra button on here that you don't need. There's a D-pad on here that is irrelevant. Like I would oh, it's weird to have it there. Like if I were to mod this, one of the first thing I was thinking about doing is I would relocate one of these buttons and I would actually drill a hole out here to the left and I would drill a flashing or at least an LED start button for whatever is start and then kind of just make these look like coins, right? So that I can do like a coin rectangle to kind of make it look like a coin button for these. Maybe I'll relocate the power switches to the bottom of the whole thing so I can just reach under and hit the power switch from the bottom because I don't want the power switch to be on the front of the cabinet if I'm playing it. Imagine you have little kids that walk up, they're like, "Oh, look, a power button," and they're just like flipping the switch right there, and it's a rocker switch. It's not the sliding switch, so you could accidentally turn it off in the middle of the freaking game too. And then like the rocker switch for the volume switch, like I don't know, I don't, I still hate this coin door the way that it's done. Like I'm this one of the first things I'm gonna mod if I get it. Drilling a hole, putting a start button, making this whole thing a facade to make it look like a traditional coin door, and then at the bottom, I'm gonna stick some of the power stuff. Maybe I'll even make it like open. Like I think this is the 100% the first thing that's gonna be happen. Um, all right. Terry Red says lock bar fire button. So yeah, for most games that have a fire button or on the lockdown bar, this doesn't have it, but that helps launch balls as well. So that's another function to be able to help select games and menu. But for other machines that don't have a launch button, you can still press the start button when you're selecting a mode or something like that. What's up, Terry Red? Good to see you here, man. One of the kings of virtual pinball. I love it that you come by. So good to see you here. All right, Michael, be the game genie. What do you say? This product is made by isn't a product made by pinball people. They think the regular consumer would be too stupid to use typical pinball controls. You are correcto, my friend. I think in this iteration, they're like, we think our typical user is going to be too dumb to navigate using left, right, and a starts button. So they need the D-pad. Probably true. Maybe they have some consumer knowledge of this, that is going to be their main target audience that's not going to care about how you would navigate a traditional pinball menu, but like it can be done. I think it could be made for both the potential enthusiasts that's liking pinball as well as the casual person. Like it can be very intuitive to go left, right, and then if you need to go down, like you pretty much just keep pressing right until it goes into the next row and you have 3 rows of text. And yes, it takes a little bit longer, but then you don't have this ugly D-pad that you have to navigate all the time. So it's just like, I hate it. I'm gonna figure out a way to get rid of that D-pad. Like I know you're gonna need it to navigate the menu, but maybe a future update you'll just be able to navigate using the buttons too, and you can just delete the D-pad. Like it just looks. I hate it. I don't know. All right, console kid says, Mike, maybe be planned this entire time. Destroy Wonderland, back it anyway. It's like a weird white knight. This is not a white knight power move. I was not backing it in the beginning because I wanted to see it at WonderCon. And immediately after WonderCon, my plan, like going into WonderCon and afterwards, was to back it. And I wanted to do it live with Mrs. Kong's or Us. I had recently come into a sum of money because I won my fantasy basketball league. Woot! First time ever. So I was like, yeah, I have it's not a money issue at all. I found a place downstairs. I'm gonna have it next to my homebrew pinball. It's gonna be in my garage, Kate. So people are like, "Are you gonna put it next to your Stearns? It's gonna look weird." I'm like, "No, it's not gonna fit upstairs. I don't think it's gonna fit upstairs." So I have a space for it. No, I wasn't doing like I had in my plan to do this. I did back it because there was FOMO that night. Because the I bought it at the 849 price point, and I had remember seeing that people were backing out of the White Knight or the White Rabbit special, and I was like, "Oh, somebody got that in the middle of my live stream. 3 people got the early ones that canceled, like Kevgrid and other people." And so since I backed it, I was backer number 705, I think is my official number. Um, and so I was like, man, people got that early bird special. So look at that. If I was 705 and there's 606 backers now, and I think this has gone up or down. I think it might have gone up one thing. There's been over 100 people at least that have canceled their pledge for this product, right? If I'm backer 705 and I backed about a week ago, over 100 people have canceled their pledge because whatever they put out between now and WonderCon, didn't fit their needs. And that's 100% fine. But the 600 people that still are in it, it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be fun to be able to test this out. So, all right. You're going to see your new video soon, Fox. Da, 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 da. Easter Bunny says it's basic but serviceable. However, with locations and shots applied to this layout, the rule set can be far more dynamic, especially due to the story theme with each location only used when needed. Yes, I agree. Like there is still potential. If they got somebody like I gotta find out who's doing code for them. Like there has to be somebody besides Jerry, who's a toy designer, that it's actually writing the code for this and flashing lights and to hit a shot to complete it. Like they have to. I think and that's a good thing. It's moddable because it's Wi-Fi, so maybe like it's point 0.1 code and it'll be point 0.2 code, and maybe at some point it'll be 1.0, which is the vision of this, and it uses RGB lights and things. The engaging play out layout with ramps, rails, slingshots, interactive 3D scopes. Like I think there's still potential for this layout. So look at all these shots that you're supposed to be able to hit, right? So it's just, yeah, the targets are there, but you got to do it in a certain order. You got to make sure that you can unlock something before you just randomly shoot all the targets at once. It's got to be in an order. It's got to be fun. All right. What is going on? B is going to mod it into a Transformers or something. Ha! You know what? Speaking of Transformers, I heard through a little tiny bird somewhere that that could be a future dream pen made by a manufacturer. Wouldn't that be cool? And not the movie Transformers. I'm talking about G1 Transform. There has not been a good modern G1 Transformers game in a while. Like that, that would be freaking amazing. And I'm a Transformers fan, so I can modern Transformers because I've been wanting to make my homebrew pinball machine like a Voltron or a Robotech, like transforming robots and pinball. I would love to see a modern toy that does some sort of like transformation. I know that's probably like stupid for longevity, but I would love it. I just can't wait to start putting some of my real toys inside of a pinball machine and see how it goes down. White Knight special proof. Manuel says he's backer number 774. Good job, good job. Jason says it has to have RGB lights installed for testing. It makes sense to light all 3 colors, so let's it's be white. That's true. So that way, like if all the lights are on, it would be white. I don't think I've ever seen any model of this though. Like you can even see on the screen here where these were any other color. Like this kind of looks greenish, but I don't think I've seen any other pictures of the playfield lighting where these lights are different colors. It's always been just a white light. So, I mean, that's a good question. I definitely will ask because it's just like flashing white lights right now. I'm worried that it's just going to stay flashing white lights. Like, I've not seen anything on the contrary yet. So, we will see. We'll see what it is. Okay. Robotech pin for you. Ooh, that would be awesome, right? I got my Macross cabinet, got my Macross toys in the background. It would be awesome. Bully Woodmod says a G1 Transformers. Can you imagine a G1 Transformers pinball machine where you are the Autobots fighting against the evil powers of the Decepticons? Transformers, more than meets the eye. That would be freaking badass. Like I can just see a lot of fun being done with that. So lights are an easy mod. I mean, but it's not about the mod to just change it to RGB. It has to be coded into the game. So I could change the lights to be different colors, yes. But if it's not coded into the game to do something specific with those lights, then it's a moot point, right? Like if the possibility of it not being RGB is already there, then this will have to be something they're going to put into the next pinball machine. And maybe this is just a reduction in cost. And like for all we could do right now is just put in these lights. But yeah, lights, that would be a tough one to like actually have it do something specific. Peter said they are RGB lights. Okay, well then that's a good question. That's good. I did not confirm that, so I didn't know. Michael B says, they said they're taking feedback and changing the lights. It's really early code and they do change colors. All right, well, good to know. So awesome. Good to know. They could be differently colored inserts backlit with the white later versions. That shouldn't cost more. That's true as well. Oh, let's see. Lucas says he's a huge fan of Terry Red, right? Isn't Terry Red like super awesome? For anybody that has started a virtual pinball journey, Terry Red has helped more virtual pinball folks than anybody. And so I'm actually really curious about if there's somebody I'm curious about pinball VR. It's probably Terry Red. I would love to see his thoughts on virtual pinball. And I think he's done his build his own. He's done the at games. I think there's like virtual pinball 4K as well too. That like people have done before this with VPX and virtual. That would be a really cool thing. All right. Peters mentioned yesterday believes they're all RGB addressable lights. G1 pinball has to have Walker color or it's no go. Yeah, you'd have to get the voice call outs for Megatron and Optimus Prime. That would be awesome. It's just a community note B. I didn't buy a brand new TMNT Stereo. I got it used premium for less than a pro. Well, that is a freaking steal. Like, that's pretty freaking awesome. So, TMNT is one of those games that is absolutely gorgeous. It's beautiful. If you've seen a Stern TMNT pinball machine, it's fantastic looking, but it's a hard ass game for two reasons. One, the shots aren't as easy and accessible, and it's unforgiving when you miss certain shots. There's this random pizza thing in the middle that goes spinny and shoots your balls all over the place. And then the scoring absolutely sucks. You play the game forever, and because of the low scoring, you just feel shitty when you don't even score like 100,000 points on your first ball and you play for 5 minutes. So it's a lot of challenges to that game that still make it one of those harder games to play. And I know there's different ways that you can play the game, but I look forward to seeing your coverage on it. So Michael B says, see, B is just shitting on the lights to try to get me to White Knight Special 2. I'm not trying to do anything. I'm just trying to share some opinions on things that I've wanted to see. So the biggest things I want to see improve, obviously the code, that's going to happen. 100% is going to happen because they're on early 1.0 or whatever, 0.1 code. The second thing that's probably not going to happen is the freaking coin door stuff, right? The coin door was terrible. Oh, you know what I didn't really mention during the WonderCon coverage is the back glass, which is supposed to be like a transparent plastic with light shining through. The version that they had at WonderCon, they didn't have the transparent um, artwork version of the plastic. They used just vinyl that was covering a regular plastic sheet. So none of the light actually shined through. It was really hard to see like the light was on, but it wasn't actually backlit. You really couldn't see anything. So in the pictures, you really couldn't notice it. So I'm hoping that we'll see a better actual version of what the production um what is it, the translite, sorry, that's what I meant, like what translite film are they going to use to make sure that it doesn't look washed out and it looks good, because people talk about the marquees in some of these home arcade products all the time, if it looks good or not. So we did not get to see the final version of what that translite backglass looks like because it was just vinyl over a plastic thing and none of the light barely shone through. So that's some of the things I want to be able to see too as well. All right, Tekla says Transformers would be great. Getting to choose playing as an Autobot or Decepticon, and the play with bad bathe in red or purple lighting. That would be pretty badass, right? You can do a little bit of both. Sometimes it's hard with the toys and the placement of what you're doing. Depends on the story. So the thing is, a lot of times people think like pinball, you just flip targets and you just try to keep it alive and stay alive as possible. But most great games actually have a story, like that you are a something and you are progressing through a game, some sort of story mode to be able to, in Foo Fighters, defeat the evil alien by saving the cities or the monsters, right? Like, so every single game is supposed to have some sort of storyline to it. So being able to pick between those two would be hard to replicate, I would think, in game. It could be done maybe as a mode or something, but maybe not at the beginning of the game. I think that would be hard. TMNT left me with low self-esteem. It totally does. Definitely does. Thank you, Kevin Clausen, for gifting a Kong's R Us membership. Thank you for another membership for somebody that's probably will not get to enjoy any additional privileges because I hardly post anything for those members. But thank you for the reminder. I will send some more information to those about other thoughts and things to the members. So welcome to the Kongs R Us crew. I appreciate that. GoBots will be better. Travesty. That's a terrible take, no, but GoBots are fun for its time. B, how come your show wasn't hit by tariffs like 19K Fox's memberships are $5? I try to stay true to my word and keep my memberships at an all-time low of just 99 cents. I used to have different level tiers. I used to have a Kongs R Us crew. I used to have a Mrs. Kongs R Us fan club where, I'd be like, hey, I took some extra pictures of Mrs. Kongs R Us when she used to cosplay all the time. Let's show some of those. But, people appreciated them, but it just wasn't making enough content to make sense. So we just kept it at the 99-cent level. But I appreciate everybody that's still a member for the Kongs R Us crew. Truly do. All right. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. This was just a little last minute stream to be able to kind of showcase again why I chose to back Wonderland Amusements. I'm at the White Rabbit early special level at the end of this stream. I didn't expect anybody would still be, swayed or convinced to do this or not. Like, it could care less, right? There's 605 backers. One person just backed out right now. This is not going to change anybody's mind at the last hour with 14 hours to go. But I just wanted to share my final thoughts on kind of why I'm backing it, why it still makes me excited because of the modding possibilities, because of my channel really loving to back some of the innovation that I see here and, being a supporter of it. I think that's probably the biggest thing that I like to see. So hopefully you'll follow me for the journey. If you like this content, please consider subscribing if this is your first time to the channel. Thank you to our folks here in the chat. This is the White Knight early special where I will be taking one for the team to show how terrible of a product this is. No, I think I will be reporting out in detail every little thing that goes wrong and breaks, as well as potential solutions on how to fix things. I think I just can't wait to get in there, open it up, see what's wrong with something, fix it, and say, it's not as hard as you think it is. People like Kevin Clausen are like, I'm scared to death about doing pinball maintenance. Like, I don't know anything about this. Well, it'll be fun. It'll be a journey, So if somebody gets this in the future and they want to see some how to fix a $800 pinball machine or how to mod it, there will be some content for the channel for sure. So hang around for the next couple of minutes if you are around. This channel is going to redirect you to the Arcades Anonymous crew. Check those guys out. Multicade Matt, Nerd Lounge Master, Chaotic BPR, Gallagher Guy. They all do good stuff. Stock Jock. There's a lot of them over there. So please check them out. It's Gamer Fridge. Give them a sub if you haven't. In fact, I think I was supposed to promote Nerd Lounge Master. I apologize. I think I did a stream where I got Nerd Loft Gaming confused with Nerd Lounge Master. And I was like, go support Nerd Loft Gaming, which you should as well. But I was really trying to say support Todd and Nerd Lounge Master because he's going to be giving away. I think he's going to give. I got to join his giveaway. He's giving away a MetaQuest 3 for his 500 subscriber giveaway. So do that. Support another channel and you can win a Medic History. Maybe I can too. All right. Robotech Super Pen. Go Min Mei song. All right. See you guys later, everybody. Talk to you guys later. Bye.